Yet in addition to these words of solidarity and love and support and brotherhood and protection, I believe there's another way that you can help, a way that's unique to the Christians here in this fellowship. I know we have a lot of Jews and a lot of Christians, but to the Christians here, it's unique to you that you can help in a way that we as Jews cannot. And while I imagine saying this would be controversial, because when I've said it in the past, it has been, I don't think we have the luxury to hold back anymore. In Psalm 126, King David saw our days, the days of the coming of Mashiach, and he said that when we return to the land, we will be like dreamers. Hayinu kecholmim. Az yomru vagoyim, higdil Hashem la'asot melech. And then the nations will say, look at the great things God has done with you. And only then the Jewish people will say, higdil Hashem la'asot imanu. Look at the great things God has done with us. I encourage you to read it inside, Psalm 126. Bottom line is that sometimes it takes someone from without to point out the miracles from within. So when you're standing with Jews, when you're talking to a Jew, you could perhaps consider, I'm not telling anyone what to say, but you can consider saying something to them like, we're with you, my friends. We will stand with you and will protect you with our very lives, but please open your eyes. God has done great miracles with you. It's time to return home. It's time to return to the promised land. I mean, it would have to be in your words, of course, from your heart, but I've seen that this message from non-Jews can have a profound impact. I have secular friends in America that only from the words of non-Jews proclaiming the miracles that God is doing with them as Jews, are they able to open their eyes. There's nothing a rabbi can say, but these Christians have really touched their heart. So I picture my Jewish friends hearing this from a Christian, and that's like there to provide support and love and encouragement. And I imagine hearing such a thing would be confusing and disorienting to them. On the one hand, there's these precious words of friendship and solidarity. And on the other, a suggestion that it may be time to leave, to consider going home. But I think that that shock may be a good thing, because my beloved fellow Jews need to be woken from their slumber and their confusion, because these are very difficult and confusing times for them, in which they're feeling a mixture of shock and trauma, and most commonly denial, just outright denial. And I'm not referring to any one group of them, because from my perspective, it's nearly all of them, but in very different ways, because I've spent a lot of time and effort reaching out to friends and family from all different beliefs and backgrounds, following social media and articles. And in my opinion, there's overwhelming denial and confusion spanning nearly the entire spectrum of American Jewry. And it's been painful to see, because for me, it feels like I'm watching a school bus filled with my family heading straight towards the end of a cliff. And I'm trying to scream and nothing is coming out. I find myself up at night, tossing and turning and feeling this sense of helplessness. Forgive me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam shehakol niyeh bidvaro. So I'm feeling the sense of helplessness. And I don't know whether it's that I don't know what to say or that I do know what to say, but I don't know how to say it in a way that it can be received. I'm afraid that nobody will listen, or perhaps they will listen, but they resent me or they'll hate me for saying it. And I think that has a lot to do with it, because that's one of my weaknesses. I like people and I like being liked, and I don't want people to hate me. And sometimes when you share a message that needs to be said, people are not going to like you for it. But either way, my soul won't let me rest, because while I obviously fundamentally disagree with the Jews on the far left who have spent years identifying with every leftist cause, including J Street. I don't know if you guys have heard of J Street, but it's a well-funded Jewish organization that's just simply anti-Israel. They advocate for the destruction of Jewish cities in Judea and Samaria, what they call the West Bank. They advocate for boycott, divestment, and sanction, the BDS against Israel. We'll get into the psychology soon, but the fact is that this is not a time where Jews have the luxury of getting caught up on our differences, no matter how fundamental and existential they may be. This is a time for love and compassion, and the recognition that 2,000 years of supernatural, irrational hatred against us is enough to drive any nation nuts. And all that pain would leave a certain portion of the population to arrive at the pathological, mistaken conclusion that if they hate us so much, it must really be our fault, which would lead them, of course, to believe that although it's being disproven countless times throughout our history, that if we simply surrender our entire identity and assimilate into theirs, then they would love us and accept us. This highlight was taken from the Land of Israel Fellowship. Every week, hundreds of families from literally around the world come together on our live Zoom sessions to strengthen each other, to inspire each other, and to learn Torah from the Land of Israel, in which we connect the dots between the Bible, the Hebrew language, and the confusing events of our times. Go to www.thelandofisrael.com/fellowship or click on the link below to join. Thank you.